Anxiety is the symptom. It's not the problem. But if you go in and you talk to your doctor about having anxiety, at no point will they probably ask you, why are you having anxiety?
You already know what it is. It's your boy Laid Back with another reaction, another review, another episode. Hey, TikTok, you up to bet. Wow. It's your boy Laid Back. Welcome back to my channel. Hey, two things we got to do. You got to hit that subscribe button. I'm drinking this water. You already know what it is, man. You are the prize in 2025. You are the prize in 2025. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the notification bell. Stay up to date with all the videos. We back with another compilation, man. This right here is for the people that's really into the body, the mind, the spirit, all of that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Healing the body, nature, the remarkable things that can happen. You make it to the end of this one, you a real one for real. I'm just gonna say that. You a real one for real. Don't forget to hit that like button, man. Don't forget to share this with one person in your phone, man. That'd be super dope. But let's go ahead and get into it. Fire Squad, what's popping? Let's get it.
Someone do to begin to get whole and healthy?
Some of the most common suggestions I get from Spirit when working with people in one-on-one is spending more time in nature. Nature heals, clears, realigns, and it does alchemize negative energy naturally. It was created to do so.
Yes.
You know, and there's a whole bunch of scientific studies done around grounding and walking barefoot in nature and kind of filling your body back up with energy from Earth, which is, again, a scientifically proven process. So being connected to nature helps. Eating better helps. If we fill up our vessel with a bunch of that makes us feel like shit, then we're going to be...
I was not expecting her to talk like that. I thought she was just going to be proper the whole time, but make sure you do your own research. That was funny.
Distracted by we're eating. And I would say, like, you know, you're not fueling yourself for success. You're not fueling yourself for that 5-minute meditation or that walk outside. And a lot of times people be like, I don't have time to eat well. I don't have time to go outside. And I was like, you don't have time or energy because you're not eating well and you're not going outside. It is our food source.
Yes.
So if you're not using it appropriately, you're going to feel like you won't want to do anything with your life, period.
I agree with that. Hey. They had a nice little song.
What you put at the end of your fork is more powerful than anything you'll ever find in a prescription bottle. It works faster, better, and cheaper. It has the power to influence and improve the...
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You know I'm all about self-love. You know I'm all about self-love. Health is wealth. You know that. Vegetarian Poppy, been vegetarian like 6-7 years now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm on board with this right here so far.
The expression of tens of thousands of genes to optimize tens of thousands of protein networks to balance your hormones, improve your brain chemistry, upregulate your immune system, and even to enhance your microbiome. And it works without any side effects, except good ones. So this is really a drug. I just give you a quick story. I've told the story before, but it's so important to understand how quick and fast this is. I had a patient, and this just patient illustrates this more than anything. She was 66, she had heart failure, angina, had multiple stents, she had type 2 diabetes on insulin for years, hypertension, I mean, you name it, she had it. She came to see us and she changed her diet. And within 3 days of changing her diet, she was off insulin. And by the way, she was on a pile of pills that cost $20,000 a year for her copay. In 3 months, she was off her medications. Her heart failure reversed, her kidneys normalized, her liver normalized, and she lost a bunch of weight.
Look, man, I'm telling you, health is wealth. Before we finish today's video, let's get into today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Relationships aren't easy. I'm not just talking about romantic relationships, family relationships, friendships, but even a relationship you have with yourself can be complicated. I've had moments where I've sat there and I've contemplated, why this not working out? Why do I keep going through these same cycles? Am I just settling or am I asking for too much? It's a heavy feeling when you keep searching for answers and you keep ending up in the same spot. And sometimes no matter how much you think about it, you just can't figure it out on your own. That's where BetterHelp comes in, because some questions are not meant to be answered alone. Having someone to talk to, having someone trained to help you understand what you're going through can make all the difference in the world. BetterHelp makes it easy. You fill out a questionnaire, and in a couple days, you're matched with a licensed therapist that matches your needs personally. And if it doesn't feel right, you can switch therapists at any time, no extra cost at all. They carefully vet their therapists. Their customer support team is there if you need them. And with over 7,000 reviews and over 4.5 stars on Trustpilot, you know you're in good hands. And listen, therapy is not just for when things are falling apart. It's there to help you build better relationships. even the relationship you have with yourself. If you've been struggling with some of these thoughts, don't keep them bottled up to yourself. Go get the support that you deserve. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/LayedBakDFR to get 10% off your first month. Go get the answers that you deserve. Self-love and positivity.
Why should people get sunlight in the morning, 10 minutes of natural light?
Yeah. Getting sunlight in your eyes early in the day, even if it's through cloud cover, we can talk about how to do that. I would put right up there in the top batch of mental health, physical health, and performance enhancing behavioral tools. And it's completely zero cost. It takes a little bit of time, but here's the idea.
And this means actually natural sunlight.
That's right.
Yeah. And you should stare at the fucking sun, right?
Well, blink
Okay.
if it hurts. When the
Okay.
sun is low in the sky, you can look at it directly much more easily without pain. But if it's painful, it's okay to blink.
Okay.
Don't damage your eyes on account of trying to get the sunlight. Imagine going into a clock store with every clock is an alarm clock and they're on different schedules. That's what happens if you don't view morning sunlight. When you do view morning sunlight for about, I would say 5 minutes to 10 minutes on a clear day, that morning sunlight coordinates all the cellular and organ systems of your body and does a couple of things. First of all, it boosts a number of chemicals that need to be released early in the day. What does that do? It gives you increased focus, energy, and alertness through the morning, increased immune system function throughout the day, focus throughout the day. And it sets a timer on some other clocks in the body, including the one that releases melatonin about 16 hours later to make you sleepy and fall asleep easily.
This is my biggest struggle, by the way.
If you don't get that morning sunlight for one day, no big deal. But if you don't do it for 2 days or 3 days in a row, what happens is that morning increase in cortisol still happens, but it starts getting pushed out towards the afternoon. And that is strongly associated with depressive symptoms, anxiety, and sleeplessness at night, which then just makes it harder to function during the next day.
Yeah.
Like it's a big cycle.
You have to observe and not absorb. What I mean by that, once you become conscious of people's energy and seeing how negative people are, and you start to see how weird people moving, how uncomfortable you make people, you can't absorb it. Because once you start getting wrapped up in how they reacting and you start to focus on every little movement that's going on, it's going to begin to lower your vibration. It's going to begin to lower your frequency. So I tell y'all, observe, but don't absorb. You see it, you peep it, and anything you see, take a mental note, and you go right back into your own world and keep it pushing and do whatever it is that you was doing. But you can't be absorbed by everything that's going on around you and focusing on what they got going on, because all it's gonna do is piss you off, frustrate you, aggravating you. And now you focusing on everybody else's energy rather than the energy that really matters, and that's your own. You get what I'm saying? I had to go through that. I went through the process, because once I got my gift, it was like night and day. The very next day I walked into the gym, I believe, and I'm just looking, I'm like, man, why is it that I'm seeing this? Why is it that I'm seeing that? Why is it that I'm seeing this? Why is it this person doing this? You get what I'm saying? And then once I understood what it was that I was unlocking my gift, you get what I'm saying? Then I'm like, man, so this is that. So then it began to piss me off. So I walk in there and I'd be like, okay, this person acting like this because of this. This person doing this because of this. And I started to notice. I started to walk in with a mug on my face. I had to take a step back. I'm like, hold on. I'm on a whole different frequency, so I can't be letting people who on a low vibrational wave bring me down. So then I learned, you know what, observe. That's all I do, I observe, keep it pushing, go back into my own world, because whatever it is they dealing with, they got to worry about that. So you don't let it get down, you don't let it get you down. You get what I'm saying? Especially when somebody bring that energy towards you. But you can't even let your surroundings agitate you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people ain't gonna walk up to you. Sometimes people ain't gonna talk to you. But you'll see somebody on some other stuff from afar and you just be like, man, what they got going on? Don't even worry about it. You see that? Noted. Interesting. You keep it pushing. This is how you protect your energy. So remember, observe, but do not absorb unless it's good energy. Blessings to y'all.
I like that. I like that a lot.
The human body emits an electromagnetic field invisible to the naked eye. This field emanates from our heart center and extends 4 to 5 feet around the body. Each one of your cells holds 0.07 volts of electricity, and there are around 50 trillion cells in your body. That adds up to 3.5 trillion volts of electricity. In this, your body is like a nuclear explosion. The energy field emitted from your body is incomprehensibly powerful. The oscillating energy field around your body has a point that keeps you balanced, which is called the assemblage point. In a healthy, balanced person, this assemblage point is about 1 centimeter in diameter, going directly through their heart center. However, you can see imbalances in the body cause the relocation of this assemblage point. Dr. Angela Blaine was the first person to verify and measure the assemblage point scientifically. There have been many names for the field around us, such as subtle body, aura, or energy body. Monks, yogis, and Zen masters spend their entire lives trying to understand the metaphysical. It's time we do the same to tap into the 5D.
This is gonna be good.
Let's talk about the red light.
It does 4 things. It improves collagen, elastin, fiber in the skin. The second thing it does is it helps with circulation and inflammation. Biggest thing that it does, but there's a wavelength of light, 810 nanometers, that will pass through your skin, about 3.5 inches. And when it goes through the cell, it kicks out a useless gas called nitric oxide, mitochondrial nitric oxide, and forces oxygen to dock. And remember what happens when you put oxygen into the mitochondria, 16-fold increase in energy. We're using red light therapy to improve recovery, drive oxygen into the mitochondria to heal tendons, ligaments, cartilaginous surfaces that don't have a lot of blood flow.
This started providing me with more confidence. I looked younger almost immediately. I felt better almost immediately. I could see the results in my blood immediately.
I ain't never heard of that.
I'm about to show you about cold plunging, or deliberate cold exposure therapy, is going to change the way you look at cold therapy forever. Consistent cold exposure therapy is absolutely one of, if not the best thing for your overall health. And the first reason has to do with the effect that cold has on the neurotransmitters in your brain. When you plunge into uncomfortably cold water, your body responds to that sudden stress by releasing the neurotransmitter dopamine, which is a common one a lot of you guys know is a part of the reward system in the brain. This spike in dopamine can create a sense of euphoria and also boost your overall mood and well-being. And that effect isn't just for a couple minutes. This lasts for hours and hours after you get out. And over time, regularly cold plunging or exposing yourself to cold can increase your dopamine sensitivity in the brain, which can lead to permanent improvement in overall mood and motivation. Wow. The other reason that cold plunging is really amazing is because when you immerse yourself in cold water, your body triggers the release of what are known as cold shock proteins. These cold shock proteins raise the amount of norepinephrine in the body by up to 5 times. Norepinephrine is a hormone and transmitter that increases alertness, attention, and focus. On top of that, it can help reduce inflammation and pain, which is why if you're an athlete and you're watching this, this is especially important for you to do regularly. The last reason has to do with something called brown adipose tissue, or brown fat. When your body's exposed to cold temperatures like we're talking about, it triggers the sympathetic nervous system in the body, which is the fight or flight response. That then sends norepinephrine, or noradrenaline, to the brown fat cells, which is a special type of body fat that burns energy to generate heat. When you get cold like this, your body needs to work way harder to maintain its core temperature. One way it does this is by activating that brown fat, which burns calories to generate heat. So if you're doing this regularly, you can increase the activity of brown fat in the body, which can enhance thermogenesis and help you burn fat. So if you want to learn more about biohacking, hormone optimization, anti-aging kind of stuff like this, click that follow button. I'll see you in the next one.
That's a lot of benefits for a cold plunge.
But this is how you finally find peace in your life. So your mind has evolved to keep you alive, not to make you happy. So its job is to consistently think about problems all of the time. That's the evolutionary function of your mind. So when it decides that you're safe now, you're well fed, hydrated, sheltered, it doesn't really know what to do with itself, because its only job is to solve problems. So it's all it knows how to do. So the reason why your mind is so active, the reason why your mind is so noisy, is because it's trying to work out how to make you peaceful. It's trying to work out how to make you feel okay. The issue is it can't do that because your mind is the problem. The reason why you're not peaceful, the reason why you're not happy, is because your mind is so noisy. It's constantly thinking all the time. You don't know how to switch it off. But the only way to find true peace is learning to silence your mind. And you do that through present moment awareness. Rather than looking to the future for your happiness, when you come into the present moment, you face it fully. You become more conscious to the now. Your mind begins to slow down. You become more present. You become more conscious. And as your thoughts settle, your emotions begin to settle as well. That's how you find peace.
I like this. I like this.
I'll tell you a good story.
Okay.
I have 3 friends. All 3 of them had stage 4 cancer. All 3 of them don't have cancer right now at all. And they had some serious stuff going on.
And what did they take?
They took some, what you've heard they've taken.
Ivermectin.
Fenbendazole.
Fenbendazole, yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing that a lot.
They drank hydrochloride something or other.
There's studies on that now where people have proven that
people
they've
drinking methylene blue and stuff like that.
Yeah, methylene blue, which was a fabric dye.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a textile dye. And now they find out it has profound effects on your mitochondria.
Yep. This stuff works, man.
There's a lot of stuff that does work, which is very strange because, again, it's profit. When you hear about things that are demonized and that turn out to be effective, you always wonder, well, what is going on here? How is our medical institutions, how have they failed us so that things that do cure you are not promoted because they're not profitable?
Capitalism.
You are more than just your physical body. Dr. Jason Yuan, and I teach you about the science of energy healing. And so in energy medicine, or what we call in science biofield therapies, we understand that the physical body is just one dimension of life. Biofield is basically this energetic field that surrounds our physical body that influences our health. And when we're out in nature, absorbing the energy from the ground, from the sun, from the air, from the water, that all revitalizes and energizes our biofield and our energy.
How did our ancestors say we should view ourselves in connection with nature? Number one, and probably the most obvious, is that we are not separate from nature or the earth. We are nature and the earth. You can see this from the fractal patterns imprinted all over your body, from your eyes to your heart to your nervous system to your thumbprint. We are a manifestation of nature, and because of that, we ourselves are nature. Number two, the earth is not a resource, it's a living being, and it doesn't belong to humanity. Humanity belongs to the earth. After all, we are part of the earth, and the earth is part of us, and you cannot own something which you already are. Number three, nature is a web of life, and humanity is merely a string within that web of life. Number four, nature, the universe, is alive, breathing, and conscious. Everything in nature is connected by the same animating spirit, or consciousness. Every rock, tree, river, and animal. As Black Elk said, at the center of the universe dwells the Great Spirit, and that spirit is really everywhere. It's within each and every single one of us.
This is good.
Human beings were originally built to spend 85% of our time outside. The average human spends less than 2% of their lifetime outdoors now. So now what's happened when we've come indoors? We've stopped contacting the surface of the earth. Do you know that the earth is a giant magnetic field? Think about the last time that you had bare feet touching bare soil, dirt, grass, or sand. That's the last time that you discharged into the earth. And this is very real. By the way, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I took a voltage meter. I plugged it into the dirt in the sand, into the ground. And I held the other pole of this voltage meter, and I showed you how there was 0 voltage going through my body. I was standing in tennis shoes. And I took my shoes off and I stepped on the surface of the earth, and the pin pegged all the way to the right-hand side.
Wow.
So what happens when we touch the surface of the earth? It's called earthing, it's called grounding. You see, we don't want it to be this easy, but it is. Right? When we touch the surface of the earth, we discharge into the earth. It actually changes the polarity of the body. It can shift the alkalinity in the blood. It can change the polarity of 32 trillion cells in the human body.
That grounding is for real, too.
Did you know that being in the ocean is one of the healthiest things that you can do for your health? That's because not only does the ocean have magnesium chloride, which is better than an Epsom salt bath at relaxing your muscles, but you're also grounding in direct contact with Mother Earth's healing frequencies, which reduce stress and inflammation that we've accumulated throughout our day. You're also getting sun exposure. Even on overcast days, you're still getting that UV, blue, red, and infrared healing rays of the sunlight. So, if you're feeling a little down in the dumps, it's time to quit your job and move to the beach. Live the captain's lifestyle.
The ocean.
Here are 4 benefits of therapy. There's absolutely no ego when it comes to therapy. Like, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter how much you think that you're honest with your friends. There's always a level when you're speaking to your friends or your family or somebody that you know that you want them to think of you in a certain way, right? And if you're speaking to your therapist, they're unbiased. They don't care who you are. Like, they have got no emotional connection to you whatsoever. So it's completely a safe space to be exactly who you are, exactly what you think, and there's no judgment. You can talk about anything and there's no judgment, and it's such a freeing feeling. They pick up on so much stuff that you didn't even realize personally that you were even thinking about. It was just somewhere like deep down in your soul, like festering, like this bad trauma that you've not gotten over or anything like that. They pick up on that. So a lot of people don't go to therapy because they're like, I don't actually know what to say. I don't know what to bring to the table. Like, I feel bad, but I don't know why. But a good therapist, you don't need to do that. They pick up on stuff instantly and they navigate the conversation in the right questions, in the right way, like everything about it. And then all of a sudden you end up like crying your eyes out. You end up talking about all this stuff from your past and you're like, how the fuck did I even get here? But it's just such a profoundly beautiful experience. A therapist is not there to be your best friend. They're there to help you. And this is a kind of challenging thing sometimes, but in your past, you've told your friends or your family about problems you've been having, and there's been an element of them trying to kind of mollycoddle you a bit and trying to make you feel a little bit better and be on your side. Whereas a therapist will tell you exactly how it is. And sometimes that can be kind of confronting. Sometimes it can like take a level of like, oh, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to like deal with the situation. But a therapist will be there to be that person for you. Someone that's not really called you out before and not really like painted the picture for you very well. That you kind of like take a step back and you're like, shit, maybe I've been thinking wrong this whole time. Therapy doesn't have a sell-by date, and this is what's so crazy about, you know, the UK, like just us in general. We think to ourselves like we don't deserve it or don't need it enough unless we're like down, suicidal, weak, vulnerable, all of the above, you know, like we think to ourselves we don't deserve therapy when we do. Like, I started therapy 3 years ago when my dad passed away, and since then, ever since, getting better and better. And like right now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like in the best place I've ever been in. I feel happy, content, self-aware, all of these things, right? But I still go to therapy twice a month, every month, to just keep myself in check. It's like saying to somebody who's got a six-pack, who's going to the gym, stop going to the gym because you're good now. Like, that's just, why do we think of physical health different from mental health? It's just crazy. So 100%, if you want to go see a therapist, there's no stigma, there's no shame to it. It's a great thing and everybody should do it.
It's a phenomenal thing. I recommend it.
Take a journal and start journaling and writing down your thoughts and writing down your dreams. And when I say that, I say, don't do it on a computer, but pick up a pen. I still handwrite a lot of things. Pick up a pen and a journal and write it down. Dreams, I know this sounds woo-woo, but it's not. Dreams are really powerful, very interesting. They're going to tell you a lot about yourself. It's going to tell you about those journeys your brain takes at night that are pretty fantastical. You write that down. You go back into your childhood and you go, what was it that made me so different, that was so weird about me? What was it that I was attracted to? As you go through that process, things will start coming up. It's like you're digging, you're excavating, like you're an archaeologist into your own past.
Yeah, it's like using a brush and brushing off, and you see a little bit of bone, and then you're like, what other questions can I ask around here that might help me remove a little more dirt?
Yeah, and memories will come up, and you'll start connecting to who you were when you were young, and you're connecting to who you were as an adolescent.
Journaling is very dope.
You just drink water with no minerals in it, it will go straight through you. Because what makes you absorb water is the minerals in it. So what happens is it makes them puffy. So that's why it's so important to get high quality water, because a lot of people, they look puffy in the face, they look puffy in the legs, they look puffy in the abdomen. A lot of the times it's because the water isn't absorbing. 70% of our diet is processed foods. You know, that food isn't absorbing because it's not real. So you put those two together, the water isn't absorbing, the food isn't absorbing. That's why the blood pressure is so high, because everything is static, nothing's moving.
That's real.
Hey David, why is nature therapy so effective for depression?
There's a huge resurgence of nature-based therapies for mental health, things like barefoot grounding or sunlight therapy or forest bathing. There's actually a lot of good studies that show people that get exposed to green and are outside in nature have improvements in mental health. And there are biological explanations. It could be the air, the microbes, there's a lot of mechanisms, but a spiritual explanation is that human beings are getting disconnected from nature. We live in urban environments and we're on tech screens and playing all kinds of games. We lose touch with the real reality is that we are part of an ecosystem. We are not separate from nature, we are nature. And embracing that fact is huge for human beings to feel connected, to feel a sense of oneness, and to have a sense of overall vibrancy and mental health. So if you haven't gotten outside, gone on a hike, put your feet in the sand, jumped in a river, now is the time. Never underestimate the healing power of plants and the healing power of nature.
How quickly can you heal the gut to boost your brain chemistry in a positive way?
Well, you eat foods that have fiber and polyphenols, prebiotics, and this has been studied. We now know how quickly it can work. Kiwi fruit, a great source of vitamin C, but also a great source of dietary fiber. We know, and this is from human research, that if you eat even 1 kiwi a day and you measure your gut bacteria from your poop, just eating 1 kiwi a day will overnight improve your gut microbiome. So the next day, if you check your poop again, you'll already start seeing beneficial bacteria growing back. So this result is fast. Quick to damage, by the way. So that's the other thing. Yeah. You know, but have a kiwi, you can actually heal it back up, and it's as quick as starting overnight.
Let food be thy medicine.
Tell us about the benefits of working in nature on your daily mental health.
The first and the most key benefit is to be able to find being present, because when you are in nature, there is no way that you can escape what is right in front of you. For me, taking your shoes off, stepping in the grass, they kind of lift the veil of all the things that we've created and allow you to see the world in a naked way and to feel it, basically, as opposed to see it. It has given my life way more purpose and way more meaning, and it has made me way happier and more fulfilled.
Do you want to keep your mind as sharp as possible? Here are 5 foods that will help boost your brain power. Just like there's no magic pill to stop cognitive decline, no single food can guarantee a sharp mind as you age. But research shows that certain foods can give your brain a serious edge. 1. Leafy greens like kale, spinach, and broccoli. These are packed with nutrients that studies have shown to slow cognitive decline, such as vitamin K, folate, beta-carotene, B12, vitamin E, etc. Think of them as fuel for your brain cells. 2. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and cod. These are loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, which have been linked to lower levels of beta amyloid, the protein that forms damaging clumps in the brain of people with Alzheimer's disease. Aim for 2 servings a week, and if you don't like fish, try plant-based omega-3s like flax seeds and walnuts. 3. Berries like strawberries, blackberries, and blueberries are packed with flavonoids, which are some of the most powerful antioxidants out there and can help improve your memory. In addition, berries are also anti-inflammatory, can decrease risk of cancer, and help boost your immune system. 4. For all the tea and coffee lovers out there, studies have shown that caffeine improves focus and may even help solidify new memories. However, be careful not to overcaffeinate yourself and try not to have any caffeine in the afternoon, which may impact your sleep. 5. Nuts, especially walnuts, which are rich in a type of omega-3 called alpha-lipoic acid, which has...
It's funny. He got a top 5 list of foods, and 4 out of the 5 foods are not meat at all. And even he said you can switch out the fish for flax seeds and stuff like that. Let food be thy medicine.
It's been linked to improved cognitive performance and better heart health, both of which are essential for keeping your brain in top shape.
Let food be thy medicine.
Instead of antidepressants, try forest bathing. Forest bathing is not taking a bath in the forest, but rather it's bathing in the natural wonders of trees and plants. This was first talked about by the Japanese, and it's called Shirin-yoku, and they developed this in the 1980s as a way to alleviate stress with workers cooped up in the office all day. Many research papers have shown the benefits of forest bathing. Walking and relaxing in the woods for an hour a week has been shown to lower stress, lower anxiety, lower blood pressure. Some evidence shows it can even help with cancer. What is amazing about a forest? They're essential oils, phytoncides, that protect the plant from insects, parasites, bacteria. It's like the immune system for the plant. When we inhale those essential oils, it actually makes us healthier as well. Instead of going on a medication for anxiety or depression or high blood pressure, go outside and enjoy nature without your cell phone. Take some deep breaths. Try it for an hour a week, and I promise you, you will notice a difference.
Yes.
Health benefits of sleeping in nature. I had a friend that used to go camping every year for about 10 days. It was a whole reset for him. He called it his hospital. He would go outside of cell phone service. He would bring all his food and he would sleep on the ground. This would restore his energy field. I do believe camping is a great tool. And if the body is sick, we want to get back to nature and the natural rhythms as much as possible. We should be rising and falling with the celestial realm. So when the moon comes out, we should be going to bed. When it gets dark out, we should be going to bed. Instead of turning on non-native lights, the blue lights that affect our hormones can throw our hormones out of whack. Sleeping outdoors can reset your biorhythms. It's a tool in the toolbox. Let me know if you are a camper and how it works for your health and vitality in the comment section below.
Did you know that you can benefit from therapy even if you're not experiencing a mental illness? A lot of times people come into therapy and they don't necessarily meet the full diagnostic criteria for a mental illness that's diagnosable, but they still have features of these different criteria. And those features may be cause for clinical concern, where therapy can be really, really helpful. However, a lot of people also come into therapy and they don't necessarily meet any of that criteria. They're not necessarily experiencing any sort of dysfunction, but they want to have a greater sense of self-awareness. They want to increase their emotional intelligence. They want to self-actualize. They want to transform themselves and learn the art of self-transformation. If you find yourself on the latter, I actually fall into the camp of maybe you don't actually need a therapist. I think some therapists really enjoy doing that self-actualization work. I know I do. But a lot of times people like this actually have a lot of luck working with coaches and gurus and other people who are practiced in that art of self-transformation. And so what I would say is, as long as the person that's helping you is competent and has a track record and really knows what they're doing, then hopefully you're in good hands. At the end of the day, you got to trust yourself to see if this helping relationship is the right one for you.
The absolute best remedy I know for stress, anxiety, worry, fear, a chaotic mind, or when life just feels intense or overwhelming is going outside and connecting with nature. Like literally touching grass. There's a reason that saying has become so popular, because when we ground to the earth, it neutralizes negative frequencies, negative energies. It brings us back to a state of equilibrium in balance. And our natural state of being is calmness and is connected to the body. And when we ground to the earth, nature has the codes of life embedded in it. The code of creation, the code of the creator. So when we commune with nature, we commune with God. But we sit inside all day, grinding away, slaving away, riddled with anxiety. We sit on our devices and then we scroll mindlessly on our phones or we consume media. We need to be going outside, putting our feet in the grass, putting our feet in the sand, going to the beach, jump in the ocean, go on a long walk, expose your skin to the sun and feel the codes of life coming through the bottom of your feet into every cell of your being through your skin. And I guarantee you, your anxiety, your stress, your worry, your fear will dissipate quickly.
I completely agree. I completely agree.
There's a very common misconception about therapy, which is that therapy is about treatment. The first thing to understand is that as a clinician, the diagnostic value that I bring is like 50% of the value. We should have a society where people have annual physicals, which is like once a year, we just check you out. But if we really look at society today, a 21-year-old doesn't need a physical evaluation on a yearly basis. What we need way more is a mental evaluation on a yearly basis. One thing to understand is basically everyone should try therapy, whether you think something's wrong with you or not, because the whole point is that a therapist can tell you, are there problems here which we can work on? Are there ways that I can help you? Is there something actually going on? Some of the most sad experiences I've had in therapy are people who come in for one problem and then discover that there is something that they thought was completely normal, which has been wrong their whole life. So a good example is adult diagnosis of ADHD, where people have been struggling their whole life with this, and they never understood that, like, oh, this is actually something that can be fixed.
That's good.
Anxiety is the symptom. It's not the problem. But if you go in and you talk to your doctor about having anxiety, at no point will they probably ask you, why are you having anxiety? That's what I do. I say, why would your mind be anxious? Your mind doesn't do anything unless it has a purpose and a reason.
Right.
So the purpose of anxiety is some sort of a call for an action. Your mind is getting you to be anxious because it's concerned about something. Most of the times, anxiety is the result of fear of the future, fear of something coming up. So let's take a look at that. Why would your mind be afraid of the future? Well, the reason it would be afraid of the future is because it has some experience with being hurt.
Deep.
In my experience as a clinical psychologist and psychiatry professor, one of the biggest mistakes that I see holding men back from being their best is not seeking therapy. It is a myth that therapy is only for people who are mentally ill. The fields of humanistic and positive psychology are entirely focused on how to promote a more meaningful and fulfilling life. So therapy can be pursued by anyone, even if they don't have a major psychological issue, for personal insight and growth to become a better man. If there are challenges that you're facing, it can help you address a wide array of issues from the mild to the severe, including anxiety, depression, relationship issues, work-related stress, and trauma. It is instrumental to learn better coping strategies to not let these things hold you back any longer. Sure, you can read a book about it, but it's not the same. Therapy is a special type of relationship with a professional that provides you with unconditional positive regard, accepting you without judgment, which is sadly something that most men have never experienced. This can provide you with a corrective emotional experience, which will allow you to have better relationships of your own. By working with a licensed mental health professional, preferably a clinical psychologist who completed a well-regarded doctoral program and completed an APA-approved internship and fellowship, you know you're in good hands with someone who's background checked, follows laws and ethics, and you have a recourse if issues arise. Men, share your experiences with therapy in the comments down below so others can benefit.
Man, definitely need to go to therapy, man. For sure.
Did you know your electromagnetic energy field, or your vibe, surrounds and emanates from you interacting with the world around? When you feel positive emotions and envision desired realities, you align with higher frequencies manifesting them. Lower frequencies are linked to illnesses, and the higher ones make you resistant. Your heart generates an exceptionally powerful electromagnetic field, about 5,000 times stronger than your brain's. As emotions shift, your heart field's strength and wave patterns change. Love and positive states create smooth, ordered rhythms. Negative emotions form disjointed rhythms. Modern research shows our consciousness and emotions can influence quantum physics experiments, even impacting our cells and genes. This demonstrates beliefs and mindset alone can physiologically shape reality in the body, like the placebo effect. You can intentionally raise your vibration with positivity, meditation, nature, and higher frequency fresh foods. By managing your energetic state consciously, you sustain elevated personal wireless frequencies and clear information flow. Your vibration truly sculpts your reality. If you are on a journey of raising your vibration, comment the word frequency down in the comments.
Man, comment frequency down there and vibration. That was...
The Iceman was born. And from there, scientists also have a television at home. They see documentaries. They saw me. And then they saw me doing things they thought of physiologically for humans impossible. Yet I was doing it. So one day they began to invite me. And the first study is right over there. It needs to be there later, show that. Because there you show that I was like 80 minutes in icy water, maintaining core body temperature. And then the blood was being taken here.
What?
In 80 minutes. And the professors and doctors all astounded. They didn't see me shivering. Nothing happened. I was fully in control, relaxed, talking to the people while being under severe stress. And they took the blood there, and that blood they exposed E. coli bacteria ex vivo. That means in a laboratory setting, which normally causes an aggressive reaction. In my case, 0. And that should have shook up the medical world. But now I can understand what is going on, because it's not only about natural ways to heal people and investigate into it. No, how can we make the most of money out of people's disease? Hey, that's not even political. It is time that we show that people actually have a much greater innate capacity to heal themselves than it has been taken up now in the paradigm all over the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's a conspiracy theory about your feet. Supposedly this is what our feet are supposed to look like if we stayed connected to Earth. And this is what they look like now that we wear shoes, right? Some people believe that shoes are actually damaging our feet, making them more narrower and pushing our toes more together. They believe that this messes up our electrical receptors that connect us to the Earth. And that society and our government have been forcing us to wear shoes everywhere, you know, no shoes, no service, to disconnect us from planet Earth, putting rubber between our feet and the ground. Supposedly this is keeping us sick and stops us from receiving the benefits of Mother Earth. And apparently they call it the heel of your foot because once it touches land, it heals you and stops inflammation. And there are some studies that actually support this. There's this thing called grounding, and some believe these are the benefits to our bodies from grounding. Is it weird that we run in a society that makes us wear shoes that cover up our feet to protect them? Or are people just reaching and shoes are actually protective? What do you think? One big conspiracy? Or do you think there's some truth to it? Are we humans really that connected to planet Earth?
Well, I don't know how much of a conspiracy it is against humans to get sick. However, grounding completes that electrical circuit. And so if you have so much wattage, voltage, electromagnetic radiation, electromagnetic pollution that we see in the world today, and we are not grounded, we are not taking the electrical impulse and grounding it through the earth. I mean, this is natural. Your house is grounded, telephone poles are grounded, electrical wires that you have running in your house, they all have grounds. And we are electromagnetic beings. So grounding yourself into the earth, whether it's with your shoes off or hugging a tree or spending time in nature, sitting on the grass, there is massive amounts of research by Clint Ober. I do believe he took his research and his theories to the universities and people laughed and scoffed at him. However, when he got to UCLA, the sleep department, they were very interested in working with him. And lo and behold, the inflammation in the legs, in the body went away and people were able to sleep much deeper. And that makes sense. I sleep on a grounding pad, as well as I'm friends with Clint Ober, and I wear the least amount of clothes and the least amount of shoes as possible, as often as possible. And I have 2 pairs of footwear, both the Rizal buffalo skin moccasin loafers and the Earth Runners, which are my favorite shoes of all times. They are military grade flip-flops and they have a copper wire that goes around your ankle and touches onto the ground. And I personally can't live without them. And at 58 this year, I think that most of my protocols, whether you call them conspiracy theories or not, are working for me.
I might need to check into them shoes he talking about.
When you get tired, you lower the vibration of the brain. And the moment you fall asleep, actually, consciously, the next level of activity of the brain is theta before it goes down to the lowest vibration, delta, sleep. So every night when you go to bed, there's a period just after you close your eyes and you're essentially disconnected for a moment, your brain is operating in theta. Well, theta is hypnosis. So I said, what can you do? And this is the old story, you've heard people do it. You put a pair of earphones on at night, you play a program that you want to be true in your life, and while you're awake, you might hear the program, but it's the moment you fall asleep, the conscious mind shut off, but the subconscious...
Man, I used to do this. I used to do that every night back in 2020. I used to listen to this certain book every night. And I got the idea from Nipsey Hussle. I think he used to, I got the idea from him. He was talking about some book he used to listen to every night. And I did it every night. And the impact was astonishing. It was astonishing.
Conscious mind is now in record theta. So whatever is coming through the earphones at that moment after you fall asleep, you don't hear it. But the subconscious mind is hearing it and downloading it in a state of theta. So the first way of changing a belief system is to get into theta.
Yep.
What most people don't understand is that human beings carry an energy to them. And some people have energetically like their claws in you. They control you. They manipulate you. It doesn't even look like it from the outside, but underneath it, energetically, listen. Start listening, because for some people, it's your mother, it's your father, it's your spouse, where literally you are meant to shine. And these people, not because they don't love you, because they don't love themselves. So when a human being doesn't love themselves or know themselves, guess what they're going to do?
Self-love, man. Self-love, self-love.
All of their doubts, fears, and worries, and all of their shadows, they're going to project them on you. You want to start a journey into consciousness? Start by removing the things in your life that are keeping you from your truth.
There are studies that have explored this practice of so-called grounding. They've had people come into the laboratory and place their feet on soil that is contained within a box. Or there are other studies where they actually have people go out of doors and place their feet onto the grass or the ground. And there are a bunch of theories as to how grounding could improve one's mental and physical health that aren't just about getting outside. So the theories go that this has to do with the exchange of electrons with the Earth and the Earth's surface in particular. There's been the argument made that shoes, in particular shoes that have rubber soles, may block some of this electron exchange with the surface of the Earth. There have been theories about the tactile, that is the touch sensation with the Earth being important. Not a lot of science published in, let's just say, blue ribbon journals, which is not to diminish some of the journals that these have been published in, but just to say that, again, there are so many variables associated with a practice such as grounding that I'll simply say, yes, please do get out of doors into nature.
Absolutely. Absolutely get outside for sure.
If you use sauna 1 day a week, your risk of dying of all things goes down like 30 to 40%. But interestingly, if you use sauna 3 times a week, your risk goes down another 30 or 40%. The more you do sauna, the better. Near-infrared light does the same thing. Most of the light therapy devices we see are red, but red light doesn't penetrate bone tissue. It doesn't go more than a couple inches into the body. It's the near-infrared that can go 4 or 5 inches deep. You're getting the best of light therapy because you're getting the deepest penetration. So the gut and the liver and the kidney and the brain, particularly the neural tree, only the near-infrared light is accessing that.
I might need to check into that sauna.
Your entire life will completely change when you practice surrender. Surrender means to let go of any fight and any resistance towards how your life is right now, and instead allow it to be as it is. Your very present moment, which means the things that surround you right now, you just let it be as it is. Your constant fight, your constant wanting your life to be another way, fills you with so much suffering and doesn't really do anything else. It doesn't really motivate you. It usually just gets in the way, fills you with negativity, and that negativity leaves you and taints your world. When you surrender, when you allow your present moment to be, this inner peace and this inner joy fills your being. Peace and joy emanates from you and touches everything that you see, everything that you interact with. Those energies and peace and joy become your world. There's a subtle energy emanating from you at all times. The anger, is it resistance or is it peace? Is it joy? That question will show you what your future will look like, because your world is tainted by your energy. You find the peace of surrender, find the joy of just being, and allow those energies to leave you and manifest as your world.
There's some wonderful science on this. 11 minutes a week, divided up into a couple sessions of 2 to 3 minutes of deliberate cold exposure, achieve much bigger increases in core resting metabolism, improvements in blood lipid and insulin management profiles. And there's some other positive effects like improved mental resilience. The biggest effect is a big increase, 2.5x increase in dopamine that lasts for several hours. It's a significant increase. You feel mentally clear, you feel alert. And then the key thing is that it needs to be safe, right? I mean, you're not going to jump into 30-degree Fahrenheit water. Your heart will stop, right? So you're going to try and get into chilly water that you want to get out, but you can calm yourself and stay in.
That cold plunge thing sounds different.
Go to therapy even if you don't need it. I've been very honest and open on this show about the work I've done on myself. And if you're anything like me, maybe you used to think, or you do think, that you only need to seek help when something traumatic happens in your life. And I genuinely had this approach myself. It was maybe 10, 15 years ago. My parents, they got a very interesting backstory. They were married, they got divorced. Then they remarried each other, then they re-divorced again. And that kind of happened over a 10 to 12 year period. And my dad was just kind of like, I need to send the four of you to therapy because I don't know what I've done. You know, he's just like, just go. And I was like, I'm fine. Like, I don't feel like I need it. Like, I'm sweet type thing. Like, I was a bit older at the time. I understood that relationships don't necessarily work out, but he made me go. And it was honestly the best thing he could have done, because what I realized sitting there with this therapist was I just had space to express some thoughts I had, to talk about what was going on. And she was honestly just like a third party perspective that just helped me think about things in a different way. It wasn't this case of I need so much help and work because I'm dealing with all this tough thing. And honestly, like sometimes that is the case and you may not even know it to be true. But what I'm trying to say is you don't need to wait for something like that to be the case or the catalyst for you to go and get help.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a case of you just wanting to vent with an unbiased person who can just help you redirect your thoughts and understand things in a bit of a different perspective.
Absolutely.
One of the things I've been dealing with all my life is the human aura, the energy, the bioenergy, the healing aspects. And it's really interesting when you notice language, because it's as if everything's already in the language, but people don't take it into account. And one example I'd love to give is to do with the energy that comes in and goes out of the human aura, which is basically ions, I-O-N. Now, ions are energy, and they can come from people's imagination, which is an image at ion, and from people's emotion, which is emoting at ion, and so many different things that people do on an ionic level. So for instance, a person could be somewhere and there are around him so many different impressions. Now an impression is an in-press ion. I know it's im with an M, but in front of a P, N becomes M. So an in-press ion, an impression, is some kind of energy coming from outside. It can be a billboard, it can be an advertisement, it can be anything that's coming your way from outside in, and it's pressing. That's why it's an in-press ion. And if it presses enough, it actually causes a situation where there can be a depression, depress ion. So there can be actually something pressing so long on the aura that it causes a depression in the aura. And this kind of pressure can put people into states of anxiety and basically depression. I mean, that's the word, isn't it? So comes the question, how do we do something about it? And actually it's also in the word, because if you want something to go out, to exit, then you want to have express ion, expression. So a really good way to inflate your aura, to create more energy inside, so it keeps things out from outside, is to have more expression. It can be what you love to do, it can be singing and dancing, it can be going for walks, reading books. Fill your life up with what gives you a really good feeling, and make it a field of expression in your life. Because you see, the language is so simple. If you don't deal with the depression for a very long time, it becomes oppression. And an oppressed situation can cause people to do things that they didn't really plan or think they would ever do. So a bit like a pressure cooker. You know, a pressure cooker has this little thing that goes tss all the time so that it doesn't explode. And we too, we need to find our ways to get energy out, so that we don't become full of unwanted and undesired energy trying to blow us up. So find what you love to do. You don't need to be perfect. You can sing in the car, dance in the rain.
Come on, man.
What is your expression? That is the question.
I love that. I love that.
If you can keep your mitochondria healthy.
How?
exercise and reduce consumption of highly processed carbohydrates.
We need to be avoiding these microplastics as well.
You know, the problem with microplastics, they're very ubiquitous. We're not really sure. We're just now becoming aware of it. Nobody really knew that before. Look it up. But it could cause small foci in different populations of cells. But you know, it's very hard to really chronically damage mitochondria. Mitochondria are a tough organelle. The problem is we chronically abuse it without realizing what we need to do to keep it healthy. So even if you are exposed to chemical carcinogens, even if you are exposed to all these things, but you're keeping your body as healthy as you possibly can, you could possibly delay or even prevent the damage to the mitochondria, even though you are being exposed to this.
If you ignore small things that are causing trouble, they turn into big things that will devour you. It's partly what you do in psychotherapy, and this was established by Freud, is that you confront the dragon that's run away with you. And that might be something traumatic that happened to you long ago, or it might be this consequence of an accruing set of traumas that have aggregated across time. And the goal always in psychotherapy is to turn and face that which is chasing you. And the moral of the story is that if you pay attention to the things that you're afraid of, you can generally master them and cut them down to size.
Shout out to Jordan Peterson, man.
What would be the 5 foods that if you could only have these 5 foods to support the overall quality of your mind, your body, your health, your longevity, what would those 5 foods be for you?
Maybe salmon, because it's a good source of omega-3 fatty acids, and I like it. Broccoli, because it's a cruciferous vegetable that has lots of protective compounds in it. Berries, which I think are, really good fruits that are low in glycemic load and have a lot of protective compounds in them. I would say green tea, and my preferred form is matcha. And the 5th one, maybe dark chocolate, at least 70% cocoa.
That was another 4 out of 5.
Hypnotherapy is a form of therapy, right? You can't walk into your therapist's office and be like, fix me, I'm doing no work, you do everything, like make me better. And so sometimes people will do that, and I get so many emails and DMs of people like, can you just wave your magic wand and solve all of my problems and make me quit all this and do that? And it's like, no, it doesn't work like it. But if you are open to it and you really want to quit, then you can. And you can go from decades of smoking to flipping that switch in your mind if you're ready for it. But sometimes people are like, okay, help me quit smoking, but I really don't want to quit. I need another excuse to prove to myself that nothing will work so that I can keep justifying my habit. Right? So it depends on the person. So can it work? Absolutely. But it's not just a like magic wand to solve all your problems. It just goes away. It really just depends on if that person is willing to receive it.
If that person is willing.
Sometimes I use the analogy that, when I was getting my second human biology degree, I was in grad school getting my human biology degree. I had to take all these plant botany courses, which I hated, but you have to take them. Morphology of thallophytes and all these crazy courses about plants. But the one thing that really stood out to me by taking all these plant biology courses is that if there's ever anything wrong in the leaves of a plant, like the tree, the trunk, the leaves, or the branches, and you call a true arborist or a true botanist out to your house, they won't even touch the leaves or the branches of the trunk of the tree. The first thing they'll do is they'll core test the soil. And they'll go, you know what, this soil's deficient in nitrogen. And then they'll add nitrogen to the soil and the leaf will heal. But we don't think about human beings like this anymore. I feel like there's such a paucity of understanding of deep human physiology in a lot of the medical community, not all of the medical community, and we don't actually have faith in mankind and humanity and the body's ability to heal itself and whether or not someone might be deficient in a raw material, not pathologic or diseased.
Right. Come on, man.
Men get into therapy sort of one of 2 ways. They either come in because they're in a couple and there's a problem in the relationship, and so they come into therapy, or they come in kind of secretively, like, no one knows I'm here. And they'll say, I've never told anyone this before. And the thing that they tell you is something that women will talk about quite easily. And it's not that men are less deep than women. It's that women feel more comfortable to, over lunch with a friend, say something like that. And when women come in and they say, I've never told anyone this before, they'll say, except for my mother, my sister, my best friend. So they've told a few people, maybe one person, maybe two, maybe three. And so I think it's interesting because I think that men can be particularly lonely because they really don't have the place to kind of connect in the way that women are more culturally acceptable to do so.
All right, so that was another TikTok compilation. That was really good. I'm really a big supporter of therapy and a lot of this stuff in this video, you know what I'm saying? Grounding, getting out in nature, walking, being able to have a safe space where you can talk. It's funny, it got me thinking about this podcast that I got. I haven't released it yet. Y'all let me know what I should do with it. I've been sitting on this podcast for like, I ain't even gonna tell you how long, you'll be upset. But I got like 4 or 5 episodes recorded and I just haven't released them yet. But it's right up the alley of this stuff right here. If you made it this far, you're a real one for real. Make sure you put that in the comments. Share this video with somebody. Share this video with at least one person. But till next time, self-love and positivity. Fire Squad, I got you and you know it.